Hello, hello, hello. This is Pharaoh and welcome back to Halethorn Zoo episode 5. Ooh, and today is gonna be a good one. Today I'm trying to build a reptile house and add a butterfly house to it, and that doesn't end up as a butterfly house. It ends up as a butterfly garden because I was starting to hate what I was doing. And this is actually a great example of me just going back and forth in building and trying to get what I want and I feel good by. And is this my best build? No. But I think there's a lot to learn from this episode, so let's dive into it. First things first, and that's planning. So I level the area and get some paths down to see what I can think of and where the reptile house is going to fit. Again, this is going to be a lot of back and forth and back and forth. This is the theme of this area. You know, don't be scared to kill your darlings, as they call it. Maybe you have an idea, maybe it doesn't work out. Just try things out. Never be... Well, you could be content with what you build, but try to be critical of what you build and see if you can adjust it so you can finish it, or adjust it so that you like it. Never try to stare blindly onto a build. So I got some exhibits in, 8 exhibits, and I get the butterfly exhibit in, the walkthrough exhibit. And now it's all just a matter of building and working out what I want, where I want it, and how it's going to look. And that butterfly exhibit is not going to stay in that place. It's going to change and be a butterfly garden. I first wanted to be part of the building, but it just didn't work for me. So you're going to see me building and also destroying a lot of things again. And that's part of building, you know. Don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid of getting your creativity out, and don't be afraid to change your plans. That's what I'm trying to say. Well, enjoy the time lapse. All this work is not staying in the build. And you could say maybe it's a waste of time doing it, but it's also for me just exploration. Do I like what I built? Is this what I want? And the answer eventually was no, but you never know, right? Until you try it, if it looks great or not. I eventually started building like a greenhouse around the butterfly garden, which was my original idea. And even though I still liked the idea of building a greenhouse around it, it just didn't fit. It didn't fit the zoo. It didn't get the feel of the zoo. So you see it now. Don't get attached to it, because it's gonna disappear. So here's a little oversight of what I've done up until now, and I wanted to use the modern walls again from the entrance to get a bit of cohesion in the zoo. And here I think that it's not handy to have all 4 of those exhibits in a block. I kind of wanted to do it differently, so I'm splitting them up and making them 2 by 2, meaning that in between the keepers can go and feed the animals from a backstagey area. I started filling up exhibits with all kinds of animals. I mostly used creepy crawlies to fill them up. I would say that in the reptile house it would be logical to look at the lizards and stuff. I could have done that, I didn't, but I'm just gonna keep them in. I just got all kinds of bugs and creepy crawlies and beetles and salamanders. And then I started working on the first habitat, which is a habitat for the Galapagos turtles, kind of based again on Blijdorp. I do mention Blijdorp Rotterdam Zoo a lot, but that's because it was my home zoo for a very long time. And then I thought, oh, this habitat is quite big. Let's make another habitat next to it. And I was using the Asian water monitor because they need quite a small area, and decided to build an area for them too. So started developing these areas to fit them in, get some backstaging in, and have them part of the zoo. And the Galapagos turtles actually can go outside in the habitat, which connects the whole building a little bit more to the outside of the zoo. So yeah, now we're gonna see just me fidgeting around a lot with all the paths and again with the paths, because I had a lot of trouble with getting these working the way I wanted them to. But you know, that's Planet Zoo, that's Planet Coaster. Pathing is hard and horrible, but I get there in the end. Don't worry. And now the animals are in. Again, when I play Planet Zoo, I tend to open the zoo for public and put the animals in really early, just so I can see how they react to the terrain and what I'm building, and if it's impossible to for them to live there, or maybe the public can't go to certain areas because I made a mistake in the pathing. And that really helps me. It's just a check while the game is running. I play sandbox. I wouldn't recommend this in franchise mode, but in sandbox it works perfectly well. I decided to use the temple pieces, the gorilla piece, to make a wall, and just use the backside as the wall to get a different texture in there, inside the reptile house. For the inside of the reptile house, I went for a simple African theming, just lightly, but I thought it would be way nicer than just keeping the bare walls. So I think it eventually really works. This whole reptile house is quite a simple build, even though it took me quite a long time to work everything out. But it just is I think a nice area. And then the Asian water monitors are getting their water after a few back and forths, making sure they get their deep water. And yeah, after a few digs and back and forths, their water is good and they can actually swim around now in their habitat. And that means that I can now adjust the habitat. I'm going for glass at the front, so it's just a big habitat to look in, big viewing wall. Put some like a retention wall in there for the water, or maybe yeah, a retention wall. Let's just call it a retention wall. There we go. Somebody's gonna say in the comments that it's something else, and they're probably right, because I'm pretty sure it's not a retention wall, but for now it's a retention wall. So here I go again with the pathing. The pathing was horrible when I was building it, but I think this is the moment that I actually got it the way I wanted it to work. So yeah. Time to dress up the water monitor habitat and slowly build that up and hide that always so ugly staff path from the public. Again, I go for the tropical rock, which is fitting for this area. The zoo is going to be divided in rock types, looks like. So I use the temperate rock or the tiger rock for the opening areas, which are much colder areas, and there's a lot of tropical rock in these ones, just to make it look natural. I wanted, for this whole zoo, I want natural habitats, natural looking habitats. So yeah. I eventually also place 2 screens behind the rocks, and had some pictures of Madagascar, which they're not from, I know, but nice jungle pictures in the background to create maybe a little bit of depth in the habitat. I should have made it bigger, but again, I didn't. I don't know why, but I didn't. I started finishing off the water monitor habitat with a few plants, and they don't need a lot, so a few embellishments for the habitat to finish it off, to get that zoo habitat look for the water monitors. And now it's over to the butterfly habitat. I changed it from the backside of the reptile house, which didn't feel right to me, and placed it in the middle of the zoo, where I made a few paths, just twisting and turning, and wanted to get that feel for like a garden, butterfly garden that you could explore. And I think by the end of this episode I succeeded in that, getting a tropical garden that feels like a peaceful place in the zoo. And there you have it, our butterfly garden is finished. And there I go wrecking apart everything I already had built because I removed the butterfly garden. But here's a lesson: if you find building something very boring and you don't know what to do with it, be critical, find out what you find boring and change that. Planet Zoo is a game, and games you should play to be enjoyed. you should enjoy games. So why doing something that you find very boring or you don't really like? Because that's not the purpose of a game. Eventually I start working on the habitat for the Galapagos turtles, giving them a nice area to live in. However, I had problems with the water. They didn't want to go into the water. They even didn't want to drink. I think it's because the habitat is so tiny that it was really hard to get a decent water level in here, which is why the water was really low. So eventually you'll see I put a fountain in there to give them water and get the lower water out, because it just didn't work. Time to head over to the rest of the building and focus on what the public sees. And I decided to make like a picnic corner, so when it's raining you can eat inside. And this is where the African theme comes in a little bit. I tried to make like a canopy over the seating, just to make it a bit more cozy, instead of a big empty building that you sit in. Give it a bit more of a nice vibe. I'm putting in some plants, and yeah, I just wanted to look nice. I love putting in these corner planters to have them hide ugly bits like this weird corner the path is in, and yeah, it also brings the whole area a little bit more to life, like there's been done more than put in square walls and stuff. So yeah. After putting in a floor that ties everything together, it was time to put in the roof. And I wanted this big glass roof to loom over the walking areas. It also makes a cool shadow on the floor, which I always like. But yeah, we needed to cap off this big building, and this is the way I'm doing it. Even though you can see I'm shortening up the glass a bit. It was a bit weird to have it sit on the edge, even though the right one in this case is still sitting on the edge of the wall. And in a later episode, well, the next episode, I'm changing that a little bit because it annoyed me. It didn't feel realistic. Usually these glass panels are in the middle of a building and not just so to the side. It didn't feel right, and that's my biggest test. Does it feel right or not? And it didn't. But here's a little bit of the zoo, and yeah, I'm zooming out regularly just to check how I feel about the zoo. What does it look like? How are the buildings sitting in the area? And starting to grow on me, the zoo. And I'm starting to see where everything is going to go in the next episode. So please come for the next episode. The next episode is going to give the whole park life and have it sitting in a context. There's going to be a parking lot and everything. But we're not there yet. We still need to decorate the outside of the building. I'm trying to hammer home the outside of the area to have it be cohesive with the rest of the outside. So the tropical rock comes back and the tropical plants, and trying to make this a bit of an extension of the tropical garden we made for the butterflies, so it all fits together. The rest of the area around this is still empty, and that will also situate the building way better in the zoo. But this whole build with changing the butterfly habitat and getting everything working and having it remotely look like something I want to, took me hours and hours. This is by far the longest episode I had where I had to build stuff. As you can notice, by the way, because the episode is also longer on YouTube. I've been holding off the shop because I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with it, and so that's one of the last things I'm doing. Eventually I decided to make like a bar and try to give it the feel that it's a temporary shop, or a shop they can open when it's really busy but don't need to man every day. After detailing a bit of the shop, I was kind of done with the whole reptile house. Like I said, I spent way more time on this than I actually wanted to. And I'll be honest, I'm not 100% happy with it, but in the next episode I will be doing a little bit more detailing and a few changes to get it better. But our newest additions to the zoo are done for now. And yes, I'm really liking the butterfly garden. I love how it feels open but integrated into the zoo. And I do like putting in a big building like the reptile house into the zoo. Though, like I said, I am going to spruce it up a little bit in the next episode. Add a few more details that I think will make it look way more better, 10 times better. But yeah, our Galapagos turtles now have a nice area to sit. And as you can see, it's a bear behind this. That's gonna be done by the next episode. Yeah, again, the Galapagos turtles with a nice drawing of the sun and the shadows on the windows. And there's the water monitors. Yeah, this whole area came together. The habitats are now all functional. I put in all the walls, the facade walls. And here people can sit and enjoy their drinks and eat. Even though I haven't seen them do it in game, but that's the theory. Go to the bathroom if needed. And yeah, all in all, I'm happy with how the building turned out. But like I said, it's going to be changed just a little bit. But for now, this has been the video. Thank you all for coming along. Remember, please comment on the video. Please like the video and consider subscribing. And for now, I'm saying bye-bye. So, bye-bye!